All right, on this episode of Bare Knuckle Bowker, very excited to be talking to an individual who's competing on what looks to be a very stacked card. Not one, but two title fights set to go down in Cardiff. We got Liam Rees taking on Martin Reffell for the super welterweight title, and Dan Podmore defending that bridgerweight title against Emil Markic. BKB 40 going down on April the 19th, and very excited to have Martin Reffell on Bare Knuckle Bowker ahead of that to talk about the fight and presumably a few other topics as well. How are you doing, man?
Oh, well, good. Thank you very much. Just got it's 5 weeks, so it's twitching now. I just want to get it done and dusted so I can enjoy myself for a couple of days.
Yeah, no, for sure. And when did you, I guess, get the official word that you were going to be contending for the title next and everything like that? I imagine that was a big moment, but when did the ball really kind of get rolling for that?
So I've been in training since Boxing Day because I was doing a stand-in if on the Barrie Jones fight if there was an issue with I can't remember what his name is, but he got if there was any issues him coming over and getting a visa, I was going to stand in against Barrie Jones. After obviously he got his visa and he came over and unfortunately he lost, and Barrie took the win. Jim messaged me going, right, okay, you're always there for us. You never let us down. You're on a win streak. We've got this offer for you. So they offered me Liam Rees world title fight. Now it's not usually at the weight that I would normally fight at, but it's a world title, and as a professional, you've got to be able to bounce a little bit. And yeah, so I took the fight, and I'm ready to go. So.
And how much has that forced you to, I guess, amend certain parts of your preparations, like just talking about competing in a weight category you're not maybe as familiar with, I guess?
Well, it's not that I'm not familiar. I've been at this weight before. It's just that this is where I started at. But now, I felt better and stronger at a higher weight. I know most fighters like to come down, but I like to sit at the weight that I fight at, and I kind of enjoyed putting the weight on and fighting at the heavier weight. So, and I felt more comfortable there. So, it's been hard work trying to change the diet and just increase that cardio. On the fight week, it's brutal because I'm starving. I'm absolutely starving. I just want to eat, and I don't care what it is. I just want to eat. Um, but no, yeah, it will get done. And when that weigh-in comes in, I'll be on point.
Yeah, for sure. And what are your thoughts on, I guess, just Reese as a champion and everything like that? Just, I mean, is it a guy that was on your radar in any kind of way at all, or maybe not, just by virtue of, like you said, like not necessarily the division you normally operate in. It was more at the beginning of the career. Like, what are your thoughts on, I guess, what Liam Reese brings to the table as the champion here?
Listen, he wasn't on my radar. We Anybody that knows me and knows my fighting game knows who was on my radar. I wanted LT Smash. He had to fight Canelli at the heavier weight. I wanted, obviously, I'm number one in middleweight, and I will remain number one in middleweight. Um, but Liam Rees is a good fighter. He's a lovely guy outside of the ring. I've got a lot of respect for any man in the ring. I know a lot of fighters, some fighters are like, oh no, I can't respect it's fighting game and it's what it is, it's business. But I actually have a lot of respect for any man that gets in the ring, and I've got no hatred for anybody that I fight against either. I'm quite chilled and laid back. But when the bell goes, obviously it's a different story. We fight, we bleed, the violence comes out, and the side of me that I enjoy comes out of me. So Liam Rees is a damn good fighter. He's unbeaten in what he does. I saw the story he's just come out with. He's had a hard upbringing, a hard past, um, and most fighters do come from that kind of background where they've had a bit of a rough upbringing or a rough past, and they kind of work themselves into a position where they're stronger from fighting. I myself have been through bits and pieces that have made me the man I am today, and yeah, he's a good solid fighter. He loves to switch. He comes forward a lot. Um, he's actually quite exciting. I think it's going to be quite exciting fight. And like people have been saying, it's got fight of the night written all over it. I potentially look at fight of the year. Um, both coming forward, both not backing down. It is going to be a test of who can withstand the pain more.
Yeah,
I
so
think I think he's predicted to knock me out in the third round. Um, I don't really make predictions. I want the fight done within 5 rounds, whether it be doctor stoppage, knockout. I'm not really bothered, but I don't really want it to go the distance. But I don't predict it will. I predict it will be a good fight. But I can definitely tell you now, and I'm going to say it, he is definitely not knocking me out. So he's either stopping me via a doctor stoppage, or we are going the 6 rounds.
yeah, just such an interesting matchup, and like you said, really does have the makings of a fight of the night caliber contest. I mean, just the pedigree both of you guys have and what you bring to the table. And to that point, it would seem like there's perhaps a certain level of momentum from the last fight, because I mean, you have, 8 bare knuckle fights underneath you, first victory in the Trigon, and that, slightly different rule set specifically. I would think that that last fight there that you had against Ryan McCann at, BKB 30, I guess it was BYB 30 at the time, but, revisionist history. And I guess we'll get to that in like a later question as well. But I would think that, all the momentum from that last fight with Ryan McCann there would really behoove you kind of heading into a fight like this.
Um, you know what? The Ryan McCann fight. A lot of people set the momentum. Like I wanted more from that fight. Anybody again that knows me, I'm not, I'm not one for knockouts. Like I know we obviously fight in a position where it's 90% of knockouts, but I don't look for a knockout. I look for pure entertainment and violence, and I enjoy bleeding. I enjoy the smell of the other person's blood. It's it's a twisted way, but I enjoy being in there. So finishing a round, it everybody else found it brilliant. I weren't too excited. I'm glad he's got home safe and he's well. But me personally, I wanted more. So um, yeah, I get the momentum of winning, and that's brilliant. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting in there and really getting stuck in.
Yeah, and something you mentioned earlier that I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't touch back on at least a little bit, because you were talking about how you were serving as the backup for that Barrie Jones Gregoris Cisneros fight, I believe was who you were
Mm,
outlining there and everything like that. And then there was
that's it.
maybe some worry that he might get a visa complication involved in the situation. Obviously, didn't end up transpiring there. Like, is that a division you have any kind of eye on going forward from here? Like, obviously, you're focused on this fight here,
No,
but yeah.
no, no. It was purely. I'll tell you what. That one, I took that and I said I'd do it because one, Jim's always looked after me, so I'll always be there to help when needed. But I was meant to fight Barrie Jones previously before BYB took over. Um, After beating and defending Rolando Die. So I took that fight purely because of who the person I would be fighting. If they'd have said to me, I can do a standing fight against, I don't know, Tom, Dick, or Harry, I'd have gone, nah, you're all right, I'm not interested. But because it was Barrie Jones, I was quite happy to stand in there because it would have been an honor to face him in the ring. And if I had to put on a bit of weight for that, you know, it would have been his advantage because I would have been sluggish. But yeah, it was purely because of the name that I was happy to stand in for that. But I have no intentions to going up to that weight category. None.
Well, yeah, when you said it, it caught me kind of off guard. I was like, damn, you were the backup for the light heavyweight fight. But yeah, I mean, like you said, Barrie Jones, such a big name, so I understand the logic.
Yeah, and I can make that weight, but I'm telling you now, that was a brutal few weeks because it was just shoveling whatever I could get my hands on. Obviously healthy, but trying to get in as much as I can. So
Yeah, just the sheer cumulative amount of food you would have to be intaking. I get what you mean. And we've kind of touched on it a little bit in a cursory way throughout the chat, but you were with BKB first, and then you were with BYB, who acquired that entity, and now they're back to being BKB. So, what are your thoughts on all of that there?
listen, it was always BKB, whether it was BYB or BKB, it's still bare knuckle boxing. And I think it was a great idea from the owners and the promoters. And BYB was the brand and the motion that was got it all rolling big. Don't know if I'm using my words right, but you know what I'm saying. They kind of got the big ball rolling and everything started to work. But BKB is what it is. It's bare knuckle boxing, and I think it was a great plan from them to go that way again.
Yeah, I just feel like the branding is there. I mean, people are going to search literally the sport, bare knuckle boxing, and it's going to be, embodied in a brand like that. And just, yeah, seems like great times for the company overall. That Vice TV deal would seem like it would be a bit of a game changer for them as well, just getting more eyeballs on them, like throughout North America, etc.
Yeah, I think the Vice TV. Obviously, I'm not from America, so I wasn't too sure on what that was. But I've researched it a little bit. It's a massive thing. A lot of people have it and use it. Um, I know there's some other bits and pieces going on in the background. Um, I know obviously the last fight in America was over here on TalkSport Boxing on YouTube, but I actually watched that on that stream. It was a good stream, and yeah, it was good. Everything's moving forward and up. Everything just keeps going up and up and up and up. They just keep setting the bar and smashing it and then making another bar.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it seems like you're so involved in the game, not just even through the lens of being, a title contending competitor, but I saw you getting in some good cornerman work for Cal kind of recently there. I saw that on the BKB social media, so love to see it.
Listen, that man I've got a lot of love for. He's like a brother to me. He's my daughter's godfather. Um, he's a good man, and he wanted one more fight for his sister, bless her, from losing her. And I think it was the right thing for him to do. And yeah, he might have got the loss, but wow, wow, what a fight! What a fight! And it was an honor to be there in his corner and watch him do it because it was probably one of the best fights he's ever had. So yeah, I'd always be there in his corner each time. So yeah.
I feel like whenever I talk to fighters, they almost are more stressed out by being in the corner as compared to actually fighting because like they have some direct, I guess, autonomy within the fight itself. They're actually physically out there doing it. Maybe the worry, not like worry in a bad way, but just like you don't have the direct control over the person out there, and it's usually someone you care about, etc. Like, do you find that's the case for you, or can you kind of compartmentalize it a bit and whatnot?
No, no. Obviously, I'm worried about him, and it's one of those. But I know him, and I know him really well. So I felt comfortable being there, and I was comfortable in the decisions that we discussed and the choices that were made in the moment. So yeah, no, it was good fun.
Yeah, and I guess that makes sense too because you're so entrenched in the fighting world, like not even just yourself, but also your family. Like I saw that Sadie was fighting for the British title earlier in the year. So yeah, fighting just a big part of your life, it seems like.
It is. It's a massive part of our life, and we installed it into our daughter as well. So, um, we enjoy fighting. It's just what we are and what we do.
I was gonna say, are the kids gonna be especially fired up if dad's bringing home the belt, like a cool shiny toy kind of vibe, or
I think the girls obviously I've got all girls, so they're excited and that they're happy for me. But yeah, no, they're not. I think they'll be watching. Some of them will be watching. I've got my eldest daughter coming with us, and then obviously as Tara gets older, she'll start coming with us as well. It's just she's at an age where she's a bit uncontrollable at the moment, so she she'll be causing more havoc in the court in the crowd than she would anywhere else.
But yeah, it just looks like a great event, man. I mean, that Dan Podmore versus Emil Markic fight is really intriguing. Like I was talking to Podmore a bit ago, and I feel like he's one of those guys that like the people who avidly follow bare knuckle know how good this guy is, but kind of underrated for some reason in a way. So just really a compelling fight there for that Bridgerweight title, and it's kind of fun that it's in like an in between kind of division. Like you could potentially see like I don't know super cruiserweight or heavyweight guys cross over and all that.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good fight. I'm comfortable in saying I think Podmore takes that no problem. He's a strong fighter, um, but the guy is fighting. He's one to watch, and he's not shy for a good scrap, and he's not stupid. So yeah, it's going to be a good tough fight. That is. There's some good fights on the show. To be fair, there's some good cards. I know Corey Healy's fighting. He's looking to get redemption on his loss. There's some good solid fighters in that card, and I'm honoured to be finally main event on that. So the problem I got main event is I got to sit around and wait. Sometimes you'd rather just get it done and dusted.
Yeah, and even outside of like the championship action, I feel like a lot of people are kind of focusing on Tyler Goodjohn returning back to the BKB fold as well. So yeah, a lot going on, it seems like.
Yeah, Tyler's. I've sparred a couple of times with Tyler. Me and him only live down the road from each other. Um, that's potentially a good scrap. I think Tyler does take that fight. You know, a lot of people might disagree with me. A lot of people don't like Tyler. Um, but he's all right. I've had no issues with Tyler in person. You know, he's always been there for me. I'm there for him if need be. And yeah, so I think Tyler's got a good shot at potentially. But then again, potentially me and Tyler are going to have to face off at some point. So, you know, but yeah, no, he's a good lad. Like he's been training hard for it. He knows what he's doing. Um, you know, yeah, it's gonna be good. I've definitely got my money on Tyler on that one though. But it is going to be a tough fight for him because that Gypsy Joe's no walk in the park.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, he could potentially be an opponent because I know you previously fought Scott McHugh for the British belt, and it seems like that's a fight Good John has kind of indicated that he wants and stuff like that. I'm kind of surprised that it hasn't happened and whatnot, but that'd be cool to see, like maybe like a McHugh versus Good John throwdown. And I mean, obviously,
Yeah,
like EU with either of those guys too.
yeah, I don't get involved in all the politics of everything like that. You know, I've fought Scott. I've never had issues with Scott. You know, and I get on with Tyler quite well. You know, we meet up with spar. Um, so yeah, whatever their problem is, I'm sure they'll settle it at some point.
And you kind of mentioned earlier the fact that you're ranked in other weight categories as well. Like, if you get your ideal outcome in this fight here, would like the broader vision to want to, I guess, notch like a few title defenses hereafter, or would you want to try to like make good on the fact that you're a top contender in another weight category and then maybe do the, champ kind of thing?
Listen, I will I will do what I'm asked to do. You know, if they tell me to defend it, I'll have to defend it. But we all know what I want. I want the LT at middleweight. You know, I've spoken to LT's team. I've spoken to LT directly. I'm not looking past Liam. Like I say, Liam's a damn good fighter. It's going to be a real tough war. You know, win or lose, it's going to be an absolute brutal carnage mess. There's going to be a lot of blood, a lot of violence. So I'm not looking past Liam. I don't want anybody to think that. Liam is a tough opponent and I've trained hard for him. But my eyes are on LT and I want that LT fight, whether it be in America, whether it be in the UK. I'm not really bothered. So yeah, we'll see what gets offered to me after this. You know, when I win this title, I'm gonna have to defend it at some point. But I am number one in middleweight. That is where my ranking is. That is where I feel comfortable at. And LT's holding the championship belt. So, you know, that's the fight I want. So, yeah. But I'm not looking past Liam. And I don't want anybody to think that Liam is a tough opponent. And I am going to deal with Liam. He knows what's coming. I know what's coming. You know, we both know how each other fight. He says he changes up, which I've seen a little bit of changing up, but he does. You can't change to a degree. Once you've got a set of style fighting, you do fight similar each time you fight. I've watched his fights. I've studied his fights. You know that he is similar in all his fights. There is a few bits of changing. He is very good at switching. He is very come forward, but yeah. I'll be fully ready for what's coming, and I think he'll be fully ready, which will make it the most entertaining fight of the year because we are both ready and we are both fully aware of what's coming.
Yeah, I feel like he's really emerged as like one of the better pound for pound fighters in the game of bare knuckle. And obviously, you're such a proven fighter in the game too. So just such a well matched, exciting fight, man. But I do want to be mindful of the fact that it's fight week for you and just being considerate of the overall schedule, Martin. Just be curious to get some final parting thoughts if you had anything you wanted to add as we're kind of wrapping up here, man.
Listen, tune in 19th of April. I want to like thank all my sponsors first. I've got to try and remember these. TML Solicitors, Respect Fitness, Peterborough Boxing Fitness, AJ's Gym, Peterborough, um, Alistair, because he's a friend of mine that just sponsors me because he wants to put his name on my kit, Prestige, Groundworks, and then Simple Heating as well, who have just joined the bandwagon as well. They're on board and just without them guys, it would be so difficult to do training. They do cover some costs. You know, sponsorship is really important as fighters. So yeah, appreciate those. My family for always being there. But yeah, back to it. 19th of April, guys. Do not miss it. 5 o'clock it all kicks off. Um, Main event. I'm coming for an absolute war, carnage, mess, bloody violence, and I am going to walk away with that title.
Yeah, it's going to be a great super welterweight title fight. I knew I wanted to arrange some time with you to come on Bare Knuckle Bowker as soon as I saw the fight announced, and just really appreciate you making this work, man. I'm super stoked for BKB 40 coming up, and thanks so much for offering great insights. All the best with the remainder of, fight week playing out, and just, yeah, thanks so much and have a good rest of your day, Martin. And yeah, no, looking forward to peeping the fight, man. Should be a barn burner.
Appreciate the time for giving you. Appreciate that you giving me the time, and then I'm gonna go off and do my last session of cardio training now.
Yeah, well, all the best with that, man. Hopefully that goes smooth there. Thank you for coming on Bare Knuckle Bowker. And yeah, looking forward to peeping the fight when it goes down, man.
Cheers, man. Thank you very much for having me.